It is lights out and away we go. Hello, racers. Welcome to episode 54 of the HOS F1 podcast. I'm your host, Adrian Huff, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, RJ McCullough. What's up, RJ?
Hello, we are back. Took a little break there. Wasn't much going on, but we're back. I do have to, apologize, I guess, to viewers and listeners, because I currently have a lot of nervous energy. It's about an hour before puck drop of Game 4, Leafs Lightning. For our new listeners, I live in Toronto, big Leafs fan, got a Leafs shirt on. I wore a jersey Game 1, they lost. I wore this shirt Game 2 and 3, they won, so got to keep that going. I don't usually drink while I'm podcasting, but I'm my lucky Doug Gilmour cup, so...
Got to get a little turn in the podcast.
Yeah, it's big Game 4. If the Leafs are up in the series 2-1, if we win this, we might win our first series since like 2004. So that is something I have to apologize for. Also got a new hat. It's a
Love
Mika
it.
Hakkinen World Champion, 1998-99.
Gorgeous.
So, yeah, that's the first thing.
So
Second thing.
Before you move on, can you explain just real quickly to a hockey newbie like myself, sort of, so if you guys win tonight and you win that first series since 2004, like, so do you guys move on, or is that like it, or like what's the progression? Is this like the first stage of the playoffs?
Yeah, so if we win tonight, we still have to win. The next game would be Thursday. So you have to win first 4 out of 7, or like 3, first to win 4 games. Moves on is just the first round out of 4 possible rounds. So you have to win 16 games to win, and we've only won 2, so it's still a long way to go. But
It's exciting though.
yeah, it's very exciting and very nerve-wracking. So yeah, that's going to be on my mind. So if I'm distracted.
Oh no, you're good. The only out of those games, I watched a little bit of the first one, like live through YouTube TV. So maybe I shouldn't check it out tonight at all, in case that's the superstition. Like that's actually what's causing, or that I caused them to lose in the first game.
Mm-hmm.
That would suck.
Keep your bad luck away from my team, because I've seen
try.
how you run your teams.
Terrible.
Given our fantasy league, but I don't know. Your bad luck doesn't seem to extend to Max Verstappen. Maybe that'll change this weekend, though.
Or we'll see.
I have a delivery etiquette question for you, though. So
Let's hear it.
The other night, now I live in an apartment, so it's a little bit different. But the other night I was out. Let's say I went out to establishment after the Leafs game the other night, Saturday night, and I came home. It was about 1:30. I saw my neighbor had McDonald's bag delivery outside their door. So I just looked at it and thought, oh, that looks good. Then around and I had a couple friends with me. Around 2:30, I walked them downstairs to leave, come back up. When I leave, and then when I come back up, the food bag's still there. So I'm like, oh, I wonder if they fell asleep. But I wasn't going to do anything. Then half an hour later, I take Bogey, my dog, for a walk. Bag's still there. Come back up, bag's still there. Now it's maybe 3 o'clock. Now I'm figuring they've probably fallen asleep. They're not going to get that food until the morning. Would I have been in my right? I'm not going to tell you what I did or not, but would I have been in my right to have eaten that food? Or is there no circumstance in which that is acceptable as a human?
And this is 3 o'clock in the morning, right?
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was just making sure. Dude, it probably would have been grabbed at the 2:30 mark from me.
Okay. All right.
Just because, you see so many. You did? Okay, good.
Yeah.
It would have gone to waste. You see so many posts about people being like, damn, $50 worth of food sat outside all night.
Yeah.
Sucks.
We've all done it. You order and then you fall asleep or whatever. And then, so I gave them the benefit of the doubt 4 or 5 times going in and out. And it was delicious. It was chicken nuggets and a cheeseburger. So
beautiful.
Nothing I didn't want it. It would have sucked if I grabbed it and it was 2 filet-o-fishes or something, but it was not that. Didn't you eat that? What did you eat on the show once? Wasn't it a filet-o-fish McChicken gangbang?
It was a McGangbang. It was just a McChicken and a McDouble combined, and they put extra mayonnaise on it.
Yes, that's what
disgusting.
It was. The mayo. I can still picture that mayo dripping.
And also, oh god, yeah, that was horrible visual. But it could have been delivered to the wrong floor. Who knows? The wrong unit. The guy could have looked outside and seen that the food wasn't there, and the guy's like, "Oh, I delivered it to the wrong place." The guy got a refund. That person never may have even known that McDonald's was there. So, no, absolutely, you did the right thing.
Yeah, it's nothing. I know you're not the biggest McDonald's fan, but still, at 3:00 after a couple drinks, a good night with the Leafs win. I mean, it really hit the spot. Good.
That's the time to get McDonald's.
Chicken nugget. Exactly. It was delightful. So that's that. I have one more thing I want to bring up before we get to F1.
Let's do it.
Have you been keeping up with Succession?
I have. I have not. I did not see last night's episode yet, though. That's probably what I'll do as soon as I finish getting all our stuff downloaded for tonight.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's not spoil last night's episode, anyways, in case people, because this is gonna be coming out during the week. So I was gonna say let's not spoil that, but I think it's been long enough that we can talk about at least episode 3.
Absolutely.
And, rest in peace to L to the OG.
L to the
Logan.
OG.
Oh man,
yeah.
I was hoping we get that reenactment of that, but
it was
there was
at the
what
funeral.
did you think of it?
Dude, it was so well done. And if you watch the behind the scenes afterwards, that they basically shot most of that episode like it was a one act play, which is so cool to me. But yeah, it's hard to, I'm trying not to give too many spoilers, but yeah, Logan dying came completely out of nowhere. I thought it was really, really well done, because it does really capture sort of what sudden loss like that does feel like, and how it just literally comes out of nowhere. So well done by the writers and the cast. And then I think that I'm not going to say any spoilers, but the following episode, so I guess last week's was
episode 4,
even better to me as far as performances go. Just top notch, so good.
Yeah, and no spoilers. This last episode 5 is really good too. I mean, this season, obviously it's last season, but they are on a heater. Almost every episode has been unbelievable. And yeah, not to get too serious on this on an F1 podcast, but I lost my dad a few years ago, and the way I found out was my brother called me, and my dad also died in a bathroom. So there was kind of it brought back a lot of memories. And I think, like you said, they handled it in a really good way, because it's not just death isn't it's very rarely someone's on their quote unquote deathbed and they get to say their last wishes and you could ask them any final questions and say your goodbyes. It's very rarely like that. It is a very sudden, surprising thing. You don't know what to do. You don't know what to say. So yeah, I think they did a really, really good job. And like you said, the way that they filmed it, kind of a one take for such a long scene, was really, really impressive. So anyone that doesn't watch Succession definitely should watch Succession. It's the best show currently on TV, and it's almost over. So yeah, catch up on that.
For a show that's riddled with lifestyles that are just not tangible at all, and it's almost like a fantasy. It's riddled with real life experiences and sadness and trauma and anxiety, and it's just really, really awesome. So definitely, I mean, HBO, if I listed my top 10 shows, HBO is probably going to take up at least 7 out of 10 of those, or something like that. So
right,
it's hard for them to miss.
Absolutely, they're doing great. Did you have anything else before we get into the F1 talk?
Non F1 related news, yes. So I have been addicted to a mobile game. Any spare moment I have, on my break at work, or after work, before bed, whenever it is, I've gone a really long time without having a game on my phone, but it is so addicting. It's so good. It's called Marvel Snap. I play it so much. As soon as work ends, Marvel Snap. It's hard to explain, but it's just a really, really well made card game, but all the cards are, Marvel characters. But yeah, that's the only thing that's sort of been going on in my life.
So you've been using the time. So I mentioned a couple weeks ago I had an injured thumb. It turns out it's a hairline fracture, so I haven't been able to play. It's my gaming thumb as well. It sucks. They can bend it now. But anyways, I haven't been able to play F1. And out of solidarity, Adrian hasn't really played either. So
haven't touched it.
I guess that's what you've been using your usual F1 time to do.
Yep.
Is playing that. Marble Snap, I'm actually going to try that out because, yeah, it's rare for as much as we play video games, it's very rare to have a good mobile game. But when you do get one, it's a game changer. It's like too addicting. But I'm going to have to check that out. So speaking of not playing F1, I guess you never got around to, or maybe you did, your punishment from Australia was doing a full Australian Grand Prix. So do you still have to do that, or did you do that before the injury?
I do still have to do that. I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
But
all right, I appreciate the honesty.
Yes, because I forgot to take the screenshot of my, what was the first? Bahrain,
yeah.
Yeah, I did do that, but it was like I just was closing the game and I was like, I have no proof that I just sat here for an hour and a half and did that. So, no, I have not done that yet. I am going to do that. I'll get it done before Baku this Sunday so that can be something that I post to the socials this week. I mean, shit. Well, no, I won't change it to Baku. I won't do a full length Baku. I'll still, be honest and do Australia.
You might get that. You might get that as your punishment after this week.
I could. That's very likely.
Wins again.
Oh, he's probably gonna win, but yeah, we'll get to that.
Well, what about, we got what did they call Treco last time? Like the Street King or whatever.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, he is definitely the king of street races.
Yeah, that'll be put to the test.
Far.
Yeah, it is finally race week. Or I've seen the last few race weeks that there's something on Twitter. Twitter's weird. Everyone's
Twitter's very weird.
I guess someone along the line must have spelt race week wrong because I'm probably just too old and it's going right over my head. But everyone says it's Raw-seek, like they've spelled race week. So it's spelled RAWE space CEEK. So basically, like they switched the C and the W. I don't know. There's probably more to it. Maybe it's just a dumb dyslexic Twitter thing. I don't know. But everyone's like, it's Raw-seek. I don't know. Again, I feel dumb even saying that out loud, but that's what's going on in Twitter these days. Thanks, Elon. But yes, it is finally race week. That break felt almost longer than the off-season break. Like it feels like forever. We haven't really had much. Like usually, I always say whenever there's a break, that's always time when the drama happens. There really has not been much of anything. Like the first week or two, there was a little bit, but there's been like not even enough for us to do an episode. It would have just been like a 5-minute episode. So
yeah, for real.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously will get to Baku. We'll do our full preview in a little bit. But there's two topics here that you had mentioned, so I'm kind of gonna let you take the reins on these. But the first one is that Nico Alkenberg is doing a Reddit AMA. When is that, and what question should we post from, I guess, my Reddit, because yours always gets shut down?
Yeah, so I'm permanently banned across every Reddit account I've ever made. So not for anything bad, because Reddit doesn't like just people sometimes. I mean, you'll post a comment being like, hey, that person that robbed that old lady and punched her in the face should get thrown in jail, and they'll ban you for that. Like, I swear to God, that's what I got banned for. But yes, so Nico Hülkenberg will be doing an AMA on Reddit this Thursday, April 27th, 3 p.m. I think that's the West Coast time. So on the East Coast, if you're on the Eastern Standard Time, like we are, then that's going to be 11 a.m. this Thursday, the 27th. And honestly, I think we should ask a legitimate question. It would be fun to ask a meme question, but I think an actual question would be a little more beneficial, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, also the one meme question is going to get asked a million times. There's going to be a million questions about Kevin's balls.
Yeah.
So we don't need to go down that route. But
yeah.
We got to come up with something, because it would be cool to get that. Maybe I can change our Reddit name to our podcast. Can you change your Reddit name?
Oh, I think you can do it one time, and then after you I don't know, you might be able to.
I've done it. Mine's like a random thing, so I want to stay anonymous, but I don't really ever post. So if I can change it, I'll change it to our podcast name so that we can get like a screenshot of if we get an answer. But anyways, keep an eye out for that. And the other story that you mentioned, now I don't really know, to be honest, I have a guess what this would be, but I didn't look into it because I wanted to hear from you. Kimi's son, Kimi Räikkönen, I presume, but what's the story here?
So Kimi Räikkönen's son, big surprise, is a racer. And I just saw on the F1 subreddit today that he actually got third P3 in his first race. He was competing against 11-year-olds and he's an 8-year-old. So pretty impressive, even though, it's just karting. Some people might say, I think it's pretty impressive. And obviously when you have, when you're a descendant of the Iceman, it's got to be hard to not be, inherently fantastic at racing. So it'd be very cool to watch that little guy's racing career progress. Robin Räikkönen. I mean, come on.
Robbie Rex.
Put him in an F1 seat in like 4 years. Get the first 12 or 13-year-old in an F1 car. No, but for real, he very likely will see him in F3 or F2 in I wouldn't say half a decade, but within the next decade, he'll be in some sort of high-level racing circuit.
That's cool. There's a couple, I think Jenson Button has a kid that's racing now. There's a couple other ones, but that ties right into something I was going to talk about in the Mercedes news, but I can talk about it right now. Is another young up-and-comer on the karting scene, Jack Wolf.
Yes.
Little Jack was karting with Toto and Susie, and he was wearing, he had a Charles Leclerc kart, I guess. I don't know if it's the brand or I don't know what, but it said Charles Leclerc kart. He had 44 as the number on his kart, and he had a Mercedes helmet on. So the kid's already just swagging out there, putting all the other kids to shame. But yeah, imagine, he might be, it might be possible that someone overcomes Lewis as my favorite driver ever. If, 10, 15 years from now, Jack Wolf is driving an F1. Come on. It's going to be so cool. We're going to, obviously we haven't really been fans long enough for the guys from the previous generation, their kids. Obviously we think it's cool that Mick is in because we know of Michael, but once we start seeing these drivers, their kids get in and we know their kids, or we know the drivers, it's going to be so cool. Imagine Alonso. I don't know if Alonso has a kid, but he's old enough now that if he had a kid, he could be racing with his kid in F1.
He could.
That would be crazy. But yeah, look out for Jack Wolf and Robin Räikkönen. We're gonna have to do a F1 career and make. I'll be Jack Wolf and you can be Robin Räikkönen.
Yeah,
that might be a little weird. We're
much more successful F1 journalists in a decade.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say we could just create them, but that might be a little weird. We're impersonating young boys, but it's a video game.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit.
Yeah. So yeah, that is that. There's been. Hold on one second here. Okay, so I won't go too much into this because I don't know how interesting it is, but there's a couple interesting things about it. The tire manufacturer, I guess I'm going to call it debate, has begun. So the FIA has opened a tender calling for tire suppliers to submit offers to become the exclusive tire supplier for Formula One and its two top junior series from 2025. So obviously it's Pirelli right now. I actually didn't see that it's to be exclusive tire supplier. The question I was going to ask, so, whatever happens with that happens. But so the way F1 used to be is that they would have tires were sort of just treated like another part on the car where you could have, a Michelin tire or a Pirelli tire or a Goodyear tire or whatever. And then on some tracks, one tire would perform so much better. Some tracks, a tire would just completely fall apart. So any cars that had that tire would be screwed. So it would add another layer of strategy, but also would kind of make it unfair to certain teams. And would also screw over the back end teams if it happened to them. So I don't know. What do you think? Do you think F1 should stick with just a one brand supplier across the board, or do you think it would add another level that's worth it to kind of have the option at least to have 3 different tire brands, whatever?
Yeah, I'm definitely would say I wouldn't be against the multiple tire option if it meant more competition and, more potential strategy, but then again, would that just turn into sort of like engine suppliers? Probably would. You'd have certain tire companies probably link themselves to certain engine suppliers to get linked to certain teams.
That's how it was before, yeah. So certain weekends teams would be screwed.
And I know Michelin has said something to the effect that their tires are either too soft or the tires required for Formula One are too soft for them to even consider doing that. So I don't know if we'll see a brand like that, like Michelin or Goodyear, like you said, come in, but I don't know.
What else?
I know
Bridgestone. I don't really know any tire manufacturers.
Bridgestone, that's the only other one I can think of. I don't know if, I guess Mack Truck makes tires too, I guess.
Imagine that.
The Red Bull Mack Truck tire. I mean, Ford, shit. You never know. That's true. But
I do. Yeah, I don't know. I like the Pirelli one though. Like I don't know. I've never walked around with like I shouldn't say never because I could have one day, but like a Michelin hat. But I would wear a Pirelli hat. I don't know. Maybe it's because the brand isn't as like known here, so I don't really think of it. I just think of it. I associate it with F1. But like their hats that they have, are like they have some cool F1 stuff that matches the branding. And I mean, I think they started out a little rough in F1, but it seems like they've kind of gotten their footing. We haven't really had too much issues in terms of the tires like not working at all or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I'm sort of on the fence about this too. I don't really know what I'm hoping for, but each one has their pros and cons, I'd say.
Yeah. Yes, it does. But for some reason, when you're right though about the Pirelli branding, I would for sure wear a Pirelli like hat or something like that. I think I would also wear a Michelin hat just because I like the Michelin Man. But
yeah, you two have a few things in common.
Oh yeah, sort of. Yeah, just big white guys.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't pass that one up.
No, it's a slam dunk. It's okay. But sort of the something that I've always in the back of my mind thought that the tires and Cars. I'm assuming you've seen the first Pixar movie, Cars.
Of course.
Luigi and Giuseppe, their little tire shop, like the nice pristine tires. They always look like Pirelli tires to me. Like Italian.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
So wearing their branding, I don't know, something about the way that they've sort of marketed themselves. It's more, I don't know. It just doesn't lend itself to something like Goodyear, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. So yeah, I think that's kind of all we have for now. We'll see. I think that's for 2025. So that'll be ongoing with the debate on whether new teams are going to get in for 2026 and all the engine stuff for 2026. Yeah. So that'll be an ongoing thing.
It's going to be a great news cycle.
Oh yeah.
In 2 years.
Not that far away. Like it's 2 years, but I mean, as much as it sucks that Red Bull's running away with things right now, absolute worst case, I can have only a few years till I have to wait for a change up. So speaking of Red Bull, I think we're kind of trying to, be a little more, put a little more of like ourselves into this. That's why we're trying to, chat a little more off the top. And we're going to start Adrian's going to do a bit of Red Bull roundup since he's a Red Bull fan.
Yeah.
I'll do a little, there we go. You should be going to Coda with that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I'll do a little Mercedes minute, even though it won't be a minute, but just something alliteration. Yeah. So I don't know if there's much new Red Bull stuff this week, but let me hear it.
So obviously, it's no secret Red Bull are bringing upgrades to Baku. That jet engine is gonna get even more powerful. I think they're also doing something to Max's floor, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that, but I do know they're also bringing some aero upgrades, some like very small tweaks. But yeah, I just cannot imagine that car being even better. And this weekend in particular is going to suit them. It's going to suit the car. So it could be, they might have to really, really like ease it up like they've been doing. Max is going to have some cold tires. And we're going to see a lot of Red Bull weaving. Besides that, though, the Red Bull fan liveries, I don't know if they might be debuting their first one in Baku.
Right? They're doing I thought they were doing it for all the American races.
Yes, you're right. But I think they're debuting. I think the three that they've shown are like contenders for the first one in Miami, if that makes sense. So they've shown 3 potential. I don't know if those are the official ones or like how it works, but they've released 3 fan designs and they look pretty cool. They're very colorful. It does kind of throw me off how like it's just the body and like sort of like the back of the car and the nose and the rear wing are still just like regular Red Bull colors, and then you've got like this nice rainbow sort of hexagon pattern on the middle. So I'll add those in the video version if you're watching on our YouTube, but it's very cool. And I'm so excited for the American races. Miami, COTA, and Vegas. Let's go.
Yeah, Miami's next up.
Yes, it is.
So that's the Red Bull roundup. That's what you got?
Yes, sir.
Mercedes, there's 2 main things. Both good news as a Mercedes fan. First one, James Allison is back as technical director. He vacated the role 20 months ago. Mike Elliott stepped in, but those 2 are switching roles now. They're kind of swapping. Mike Elliott will go to the chief technical officer role. So just a little background on James Allison. He joined Mercedes in 2017 from Ferrari, and along with Adrian Newey, the 2 are considered the 2 best tech leads over the last 30 years. So yeah, there's a little more. They don't really. Basically, Mike Elliott was having a bit of a tough time, so he went to James Allison to get some advice on the role, and they just discussed like, why don't we just swap? Because James Allison didn't really feel like his talents were being utilized properly in his new role, so it's kind of a natural swap. But as a Mercedes fan, it's good. Because apparently they're already working on a new side pod concept, which makes sense given theirs was a complete shit show. So yeah, I don't know if that'll really come in 2023, all of the new stuff or whatever he's working on, or 2024. But either way, that's good news for Mercedes that they seem to have turned the corner, and that'll help them turn the corner. And another story that leads into that, George Russell. Everything George Russell says you have to take with a grain of salt. But he was asked about the state of the W14, their current car, because obviously they've been alluding to a lot of big changes coming. So we've had a month now. So he was asked, and he said, big changes are coming. Naturally, you can't get things brought that quickly to the car, but I think in due course we'll see some big changes, and hopefully the lap times represent that. He says, I won't give too much away. When asked if he's tried it in the simulator, he says we need to make sure they work. But as I've said a number of times, we're probably finding more gains in the past 2 or 3 weeks than we found over the whole winter by clearly developing in the wrong window. So it's definitely heading in the right direction. Yeah, now obviously Mercedes took a big step last race with Lewis finishing second. George had a DNF. Woo, big shame. So yeah, you never know if this is like lip service or not, but I don't know. He's also been quick to say the car's shit when it's shit. So hopefully, yeah, things are trending upwards for Mercedes. Not expecting them to be anywhere close to Rebel this weekend, but at least if they can be second in the pack, bodes well for. I think maybe they'll bring some upgrades to Imola, which is after Miami, but
yes.
So yeah, that's our little Mercedes and Red Bull updates. We can now talk Baku. We got Baku race week. Both of us, one of our favorites.
Yes.
At least in terms of like races to drive on the video game. It's a fun track, tough track, especially that castle section is so tight, and then it's such a like weird kind of backwards turn out of there. But yeah, such a cool track. It's funny when you look back, like I think it's only been around since like, I'm going to say 2017, maybe even more recent than that. And when it first came in, it was like before any races were held, everyone was like, oh my God, this is the worst thing we've ever seen. And then I think it's just always had good racing. And now it's like one of the favorites already. So yeah, looking forward to it. That you kind of alluded to the fact that this track is going to suit Red Bull. Not only are they good in like, maybe not the best, but they're very good in slow corners, which there's some of that. But the main thing is they have the longest straight in the world here. It's basically, it's like 3 miles long. Mm-hmm. It's just like, I have no idea how long it is. It could be longer than that for all I know. It is so long at their speed and it's a DRS straight as well. So, I mean, even if they're behind, that straight with DRS is going to be
monsters
comical to watch. So, yeah, that's that. Any first thoughts, original, or as we're getting into it, what are you kind of thinking, looking forward to? ahead of Baku.
Oh man, I'm just curious how this sprint is going to go. I mean,
oh yeah, I forgot it's a sprint weekend.
It is. Yeah, we're going to have our sprints. So, I'm sort of in Red Bull's team, obviously, but specifically in this instance, I don't think Baku really lends itself to a sprint weekend. I don't think it makes a whole lot of sense. But that being said, sprint weekend, much more exciting. We get qualifying on Friday, and we get sprint on Saturday, and then a race Sunday. It's great. It's a great weekend. So very, very excited for Baku. Besides that, I mean, like you said, the longest straight, I think it's longer than China, if I'm not mistaken. Either way, we're not racing in China, so it doesn't matter. But besides Red Bull, you got to wonder which teams are going to fare the best. Like, what? Mm-hmm. I mean, the Ferrari is allegedly the second fastest car. They're just not very good, in the fast corners. So they could do well this weekend. I mean, not compared to Red Bull, but I mean, Leclerc is in a horrendous spot, like torrentially bad start to a season. So he needs like a really, really good start to this season, or not to the season, to this race. And I mean, it is, if he has another DNF or a bad weekend, you just got to think like how long is this bad streak going to continue?
Right. Yeah, they're in kind of a weird spot because it's after last year it came really to look like it was just strategy and some reliability, not a matter of was the car good, and now it's everything. They haven't had a chance to mess up their strategy.
Yep.
So yeah, like if everything kind of goes the way we expect it to go with Red Bull and Max's tire doesn't explode on the last lap like it did a few years ago.
Yeah.
I think the most interesting thing to watch is going to be which team really in the month off has improved, and will one team separate themselves as second? Because I mean, Aston Martin has a case already for being the second fastest car, and they've also said that they have basically brought in like a bare car in the sense of they haven't done any upgrades yet, and they were like, so throughout the season they're going to be improving quite a bit. That's at least what they said. So if that's the case, then they might have taken that step. Mercedes has alluded to being faster, but they're kind of alluding to more long-term things, not necessarily this week. And then Ferrari, as you said, like we haven't really seen like what they really have to offer. So that's really that's going to be the main thing that I'm looking at. But in terms of the schedule, like you said, Friday, I love whatever we want to say about sprint races. I'm still leaning positively on them. I think you're more leaning a little bit negatively on them, but regardless of that, it does make the weekend schedule more appealing, despite the times, because we've got Friday morning practice, Eastern Standard Time, 5:30 a.m. practice 1, 9 a.m. qualifying, which is not bad. Practice 2 Saturday, 5:30 a.m., sprint race 9:30 a.m. Saturday, and then the race 7 a.m. Sunday. So a little bit early, but not that bad, especially sprint 9:30 on Saturday. It'll be fun. In terms of the race itself, the first Grand Prix here was in 2016, so I was off by a year. The circuit is 6 kilometers. I don't really need to go into that. It's 51 laps, so keep that in mind. There's 2 DRS zones. Yeah, it is obviously the newest street circuit, joining Monaco, Melbourne, and Singapore. And so the inaugural Grand Prix was 2017. The track was, okay, I'm confused. Okay. The first Grand Prix in Baku was held in 2016 as the European Grand Prix. That was followed by the inaugural Azerbaijan Grand Prix in 2017, which witnessed one of the biggest upsets of the season, with Daniel Ricciardo winning from Valtteri Bottas and the Williams of Lance Stroll, while Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel engaged in some, I'm quoting from the F1 website here, some argy-bargy behind the safety car.
The hell?
They engaged in some argy-bargy.
Some argy-bargy.
Sounds like someone trying to say my name in like a weird way. Argy-bargy.
Argy-bargy. McCullough.
Yeah. So yeah, that was what we got for the schedule and stuff. Weather forecast, I put it here. If I'm not even going to open the link. I think it's just pretty much sunny.
Clear
There's
skies.
like 10% chance of rain.
20% maybe
Yeah, but I don't know how that works really. So we'll see about that. Hopefully, I always hope for a little bit of rain, especially when it comes like in the middle of a race. It always makes it exciting. After last year's, every time there was a race at the start, they just paused the race, which pissed me off. So I don't want that.
No.
The middle of the race. And speaking of last year, they had Verstappen, Perez 1-2, Russell rounded at the podium, and then Hamilton was fourth, Gasly fifth. But the interesting thing is, Max won by 20 seconds over Perez. He was up by 45 seconds over Russell and 71 seconds over Lewis. So there was 71 seconds between first and fourth.
Wow.
That's quite a bit.
Yeah, that's insane.
So if that was last year, and obviously they were dominant last year, but it seems like they at least have more of like a crazy pace this year. So that's something to look forward to. Do you want to get into? You want to give us your prediction or your podium? I look up the odds here.
Yes.
Okay.
Gosh. So how could it not be a Red Bull 1-2?
Right.
I mean, unless we have another infamous Max kicking his car moment. Hopefully not, because that was an extremely dangerous crash, and tire malfunction had nothing to do with driver error, but things happen. You never know.
Skill issue.
Skill issue, yeah. Get better tires, mate. But yeah, I'm gonna say definitely it's gonna dip for sure. Max, then Checo, third place. It's probably I don't know. I mean, it's probably gonna be Fernando, but I'm gonna just have some wishful thinking and say that P3 will go to Leclerc.
Yeah,
hopefully.
Very similar. Verstappen, Perez, Leclerc. I'm hoping Hamilton rounds out the podium, but I also would like to see Leclerc get some points.
Something.
It'll be interesting to see. Like, obviously, I don't know if I can say obviously, but it seems as though Max is gonna, like, all things equal, would dust Perez. But I think this will be a good test because Perez is whatever they call him, the street king or whatever. So if there's ever a time here, Monaco, whatever. In Monaco, there's like impossible to pass. At least here, there's one spot you can pass, maybe a few. So if Perez is ever going to take it to Max, winning here would make things interesting. So, but if you look at the odds, like it's Max 1.36 to 1. So you don't even double your money if you bet on Max. Whereas Checo is 5 to 1. And then in terms of podium, it goes obviously Max, then Perez. Alonso is third, 1.6, and then Hamilton, Leclerc, Russell, Sainz are all pretty equal. So it seems as though Vegas odds, Alonso has the best, and then Hamilton. But that's kind of just like if you look at who's gotten the last podiums. So yeah, it'll be very interesting. I mean, I hope one of these teams at the bottom can do a little bit better. Williams seem to have a really fast car, so if they with that long straight, maybe Albon or maybe Sargent can get up there. Yeah, lots just up and down the grid. I mean, even like we've mentioned Ferrari, but we haven't mentioned Carlos Sainz. Like, he's not doing great either.
No.
And there's already kind of some. I know it was a long break, so people were looking for things to talk about, but I've seen things on both sides. Some people like talking about if Carlos is going to last at Ferrari. Some people saying, like, putting out things. It's hard with Italian media saying like Carlos Sainz is always in the factory. He comes in earlier, stays late. He's the harder worker than Charles. He takes it more seriously. Blah blah blah. So, but you never know what to trust. So
right. Wow.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting things at Ferrari. If they continue to shit the bed, there's got to be something to change at the end of the year, and I don't think it would be Charles, but that's pretty much that. Oh, unless you have anything else on predictions, I've been trying to keep up with AI a lot recently and everything. Mm-hmm. So I put through ChatGPT to find out what the AI thinks is going to happen for 2023. Yeah, bro. So, dude. And so let's see what ChatGPT. I asked for one paragraph to keep it succinct. I didn't want a whole tale that was going to break my heart. So ChatGPT predicts the 2023 Azerbaijan Grand Prix. The Azerbaijan. That actually rolls off the tongue. Just trying to pull it up here.
It's the Autobahn.
Okay. So here is what ChatGPT predicts. The 2023 Azerbaijan, aka Azerbaijan Grand Prix, promised to be a thrilling race with the top three teams all showing strong performance during qualifying. Red Bull's Max Verstappen took pole position, followed closely by Mercedes' Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari's Charles Leclerc. As the lights went out and the race began, Verstappen managed to hold on to his lead while Hamilton and Leclerc battled for second place. However, just as it looked like Verstappen was set to take the win, a sudden downpour caused chaos on the track and several drivers spun off. In the end, it was Leclerc who managed to navigate the treacherous conditions the best, taking the win for Ferrari and putting him in the lead for the championship. I don't think that's how that would work.
No.
Verstappen and Hamilton had to settle for second and third place, respectively. But with plenty of races left in the season, the championship is still anyone's game.
That's wild. Dude, if that happens, I don't even know how I would react. I would be just afraid. I'd be afraid.
I would love it until I realized, oh, wait, that's exactly what the AI predicted. Because that would be an unbelievable race. I don't know what they're thinking is happening to Checo. I guess they're saying something's going to happen to him. He wasn't mentioning once. But
nope.
Yeah, so if that happens, we're going to have to go back to that. But yeah, speaking of that, I'm going to have a blog coming out on that because we have worked on a website for the whole break, and it is just about ready to launch. I'm just having someone that knows more about websites look over it before I launch it. So I'm thinking, it's ready to launch as of this Wednesday, April 26th. So probably about the day that this episode is going to come out. So yeah, we'll have some backroom previews, just some random whatever comes up. We'll be blogging about. Adrian can write some blogs as well, and I'll have the ChatGPT prediction. I've currently got 5 blog drafts ready to roll.
Beautiful.
So we'll figure out when those are going to come out.
Excellent.
But yeah, we're both picking. We both think it's going to be a Red Bull weekend, but always got
ChatGPT, dude.
Yeah, we always got to hope for something else. ChatGPT picks Charles, so
I love it.
Yeah. Any other thoughts? I've got about 24 minutes till Leafs game, so it's okay. Just don't make it too long.
No, you're good. I know you're excited. It's going to be a good game. Good match. But yeah, like you said, the website's coming out. We're just going to hopefully continue to be expanding upon that, using that to build up our views and our traffic across social media. But yeah, to all the people that keep listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, thank you so much. Any new watch or viewers or listeners, thanks for tuning in. Keep tuning in because we're going to be back next week with the recap of Baku. And then we'll probably discuss some stuff about Miami whenever that's going to go down. So just come back.
I was going to say,
yes.
We're expecting an announcement on F123 to come within the next week, apparently.
Big news. And
huge.
You'll hear it here second.
Yes.
So, yeah. Anything to add before we sign off? Go Leafs.
Go Leafs go. That's it.
Go Leafs go. Thank you guys so much for watching or listening, and we'll see you guys next week, and enjoy the race this weekend, everybody. Boom.